Well, I guess it's time for a mini update, isn't it? Ha! Ha! Do you get it? Mini update. Okay, so it's a mini, and I'm giving you an update. No one gets these puns these days. Anyway, let's boost on. Because I can't afford any more problems. So that's a turbo right there, yeah? So boost on, haha, and it's a Ford engine, a Ford. You just gotta keep up with these puns, man. Anyway, update on the Mini. Before we get to this episode where the engine is being ripped out, let's update you on everything else that's happened in the previous winter. So we're in winter 24-25 now, winter 23-24. I still haven't shown you the video. So let's edit that and let's send that out, and then we'll get back to this. Right, so first job on the Mini this winter is dampers or lower bushes on the gas shocks, which I'm not a great fan of for this reason, are, well, frankly dead. So yeah, this one actually just came off. So we're going for SPAX. They're local, Vista, UK made, by hand, and they're nice and local, so if I ever need one rebuilt or repainted, just take it down there and they'll do it for us. Great price you did on them. Contact them via social media, they'll give you a discount. So let's get those on. Cool beans. Right, so Louis is still doing up his nuts, and we've done this side, double nutted, very nice. There's 36 clicks of adjustment, so we've gone for 18 for a halfway thing. I think, I have to count that again, but they look nice and shiny for now. While the tank's out, we're doing two things. We're going to replace, I know you'll be able to comment now and tell me where to get one, but I've asked to make. This is only 2 years old, this is the tank to body. It goes here. And it's already split and horrible. I'm not going to put that back in while the tank's out, so we'll find out a good place to get that and we will replace it. However, I'm going to be switching over back to the original Mini clocks. So this was my setup before. This was like the Ford pickup level sensor wired in to the side of the Mini one, which worked fine, to be honest. So I've unplugged it so I can revert to that if necessary. We have a standard Mini one to go back in. And I might have to bend it a little bit to miss the pickup that's inside there. Still working just fine. We've got a new seal and a new cap. So let's get that fitted and then wait for the seal, wherever I order that from. And we'll be golden. And then just finish the boot install, which has never looked quite right. And I want to do it proper. And then we'll move slowly forward in the vehicle. So I'll try and give you a very brief rundown of where we're at, because it probably doesn't look too good right now. And honestly, it's not really. This new kit has been put in, I believe, quite since it's time that the company that made the kit is very good at making wiring, looms, connections, you know, that sort of thing, that side of thing, the physical side of thing, you know, nice little setup. It's okay. Software side, they've outsourced the work on the ECU and it hasn't been working. We had it running, started straight away. As soon as we plugged it all in, it was great. Kept coming up with two codes though, which would bring on the engine management light, which was to do with kind of things they should have deleted already, basically, and hadn't. So that was maybe causing limp mode. We also wouldn't rev above 4,000 RPM, wouldn't build boost, which could be limp mode because of the codes, or because it's got no speed input, it's stationary, which some vehicles do that these days. They have this sort of low soft limiter. The old kit didn't have that, even without speed input. They made their excuses, they've offered refunds. Don't want a refund, I just want this ECU to be working. So been a very stressful few weeks. The last week, this ECU went off to Christian at PEX Performance, who I've done work with. Been working with him for a couple of years. Other things, including making money. He kindly popped on a file that the company that provided this kit sent him to try. ECU came back, we fitted the ECU, started up straight away, and it revved right up. Brilliant, I thought, it's fantastic. Got the laptop, plugged the laptop in, got some weird results. No DTC function, no live data, very, very odd. So I then went to start the car again, and it wouldn't start, and that's where we're at now. And with the ECU unplugged, the fuel pump will just keep running. ECU plugged in, it just primes when you go to start, and it was just running all the time. So we've got basically a dead ECU. So that's where I'm at. So for my mental health, I gave it a rest for 24 hours. I was in a pretty bad state, if I'm honest, guys and lasses that watch this. I've not been there for at least a dozen years, that bad. Good night's sleep, good chat with a couple of friends, and then we're back at it. I'm going to leave the ECU, going to send it back to get recovered, because I can't recover it via OBD because of some security problem with it. So I'm going to get on with finishing the wiring for the interior lights, which have always been a bodge up, and just finishing tidying up this new positive in. So we've got positive cable coming in, a couple of relays to sort out, including the fan, and just tidy up the ignition wiring. We can have all that sorted, because whatever's happening now, we're going to have to follow through this kit, really. I'm in this deep. So we're going to finish up on that today. If I get a chance to video it, I'll show you. It was a lot tidier, but I've ripped apart that loom for checking the ECU. Let's get this accessories sorted out, fans running, etc., lights working as they should, and at least we're that one stage further to tidying up what we've got going on. Also, if I hadn't mentioned before, we have put, this is the second new stereo. Another stereo arrived, which was quite expensive, and it didn't run flush, and they said that's not the design to run flush. What stereo doesn't run flush? This one does. Sounds absolutely sweet. It's an odd brand, but it's from a company that makes their own stereos for retro cars. So Diets, it's about 170 quid, which isn't actually that expensive. DAB radio, auxiliary in, Bluetooth, etc. It's got no CD player, but that's fine. Quality's great, sounded amazing. So really pleased about that part of this upgrade. This just would be nice if we could drive it. Well, that wasn't a minute update, was it? But that's where we're at, I'm afraid. Sometimes these projects go this way. It's just the weather's nice now. Mrs. Piggy should be dailying this, and she's not. And that's actually what's bringing me the greatest anxiety. I want to get the bike in here. I should be riding the bike, but I've got to do the upgrades and new tyres on that. This is in the way. Can't even start it now to move it. Let alone drive it. Needs an MOT. It's just, it goes on. But for all those fighting out there for your projects, just keep going. It is tough at times, and today I'm feeling how tough it is. So I'm with you all. Hopefully you're with me. Let's keep pushing on. So is it all a bit of a mess? Yep. But I'll tidy up at some point. This is at the point where it's starting to do my head in, you know. But I've made a bit of progress here and there. So let's see what we've done. Oh man, I need to tidy up before the day's end, which isn't very far away. Okay, this is the back of the instrument cluster. We've got RPM. Behind here is speed. This is the GPS little dongle, and you can see we've modified the original clocks in quite a few ways. We're losing the indicators here because there's indicators in the clocks here, which I'll show in a second. We can get to the plug here, so we can unplug that, and this is all pinned in so that we can remove that plug system entirely if necessary. I was close to redoing all this wire and just getting rid of this, but it is useful to have the OEM little plug in the car. These plugs come off this, so we can take that off entirely, and then this plug gets us an RPM signal, which again is independent for that, so it keeps this clock separate to this clock. And this is an earth which goes to the engine management light. Engine management light has a permanent live, and then it's an earth like the oil and the battery light, which they're done in the same way. So what it looks like is that from the front. You can judge me, sure. I've tried to make them look a little bit original, which means compromising in certain places. For instance, this has an hours of engine life because it's a boat RPM. It's not working beautifully at the moment. It's like very slow. I've ordered another one slightly different design just to test it in case it's the canvas signal that's a bit slow. Basically, it's like lagging behind the engine, so it's almost useless. Bit annoying. This is GPS run. We have tested before, it does work. There's our engine manager light right in the middle. It's exactly where it needs to be, which is about 1 millimeter off center, but it's because of the 2 gauges here and the bulb that sits behind there. Literally, that is the only place in that whole cluster, despite all this space, that can go. But as you can see, that will kind of look all right. Now, we've got a few holes. This was for the indicators and for the, what was that for? Oh, an alarm, I think. But actually what we're going to do is, this is absolutely bashed up and it's got holes in it and stuff. We're going to smooth this all down, fill these holes, smooth it all down with some filler, and paint it black, a bit like we had originally, the same black that the roof is in, matte it slightly, and that'll, I think, just work quite well, the aesthetics, I hope anyway, because this is absolutely wrecked. The alternative is to find a new one of these, but they're so expensive, ridiculously expensive, and this one was like 35 quid. So that's how that all goes. And then in the car, the wiring is pretty much ready to receive. We've got to work something else out as well, but yeah, we're getting there. So here's the OEM mini plug that we've, as you can see, spliced into in multiple places. This is the engine management light, and this is the RPM signal, but as I say, we're going to test another one, so I've kept that free at the moment. Coolant at the moment won't read accurately. It comes off this canvas box, which reads from the ECU, and it reads 0 to 5 volts, but the gauge runs off resistance on the, what does it run off? On earth, on the original sensor. However, we've given it a permanent earth, and when the voltage varies between 0 and 12 volts, it does vary, it still works, but obviously basically half on the gauge is going to be, you know, boiling. So somehow I need to double and a bit the voltage. If I could at least get a voltage doubler, I think that's possible. I need to research it. I have no idea about wiring, that sort of stuff. Vents are in place. We've actually gone with the OEM vent here, and I've modified the inside of the 3D printed one. I found that it created too much turbulence and too much noise. These have made a massive difference, this tubing and these offtakes, and what I did inside here. Really lovely airflow. I also bent these back. They were kind of pushing forwards. I've bent them back. They were also getting in the way. I think if I did it again, I had the windscreen out, I'd actually cut them out. So original one there, but glued together and slightly modified. That one's a 3D printed one, modified inside. Like I say, it was whistling and just too much turbulence. So good airflow to the windscreen now. So excited about that. Soon might be time to put this all back together. That would be good, wouldn't it? ECU is back. It starts, it revs, it runs, has those 2 permanent fault codes mentioned before, and I don't think it'll create permanent power, but Dan at Ubertune, I'm calling out to you. I've emailed you. Please help. Let's see if we can get it MOT'd, and then drive it to him, get it on his rolling road, do this job properly. Honestly, it doesn't look like it, but we are making great progress. The final wiring things to do, as I say, is this voltage change here. We need to double the voltage to get some accurate temperature gauge reading, and the plugs which go on the bulkhead. That's the big job. In 2 days' time, I've got a day hopefully spare. I'll probably spend the whole day on that because I need to fix the soldering iron as well. Cool beans. Okay, nice new seal around the intercooler. I do want to change the cold side on this, but that might have to happen after the MOT, and then I'll switch that out, maybe, possibly, because I've got to cut. Yeah, got to cut the bonnet. Oh, I don't want to do that. Right, maybe it's time to tidy up, really. But anyway, that's about a day and a half's work, those. So, great. Could do with a new plastic here if anyone's got one. Don't need the left side. Well, that half. Just this bit would be quite cool. It's annoying. Indicators are in there. I don't know if you can see them for the reflection. Indicators in there. And I've doubled up on the main beam because there's a main beam there and a main beam there. Right. Let's get it all apart. Paint it. That would be the next step.